how weird is this Christmas Day slate going to be, considering the fact that we have so many teams that aren't necessarily where we expected they would be?
Well, it's kind of unfortunate if you think about it. Netflix spends a ton of money for those first two games. Amazon spends a lot for their last game. And to look at it, and as you can see on my Twitter X post, that's what I call it now, by the way, Twitter X, everybody knows what I'm talking about. On my Twitter X post, at Ross Tucker NFL, you've got three teams coming off losses. That would be the Cowboys, the obviously Broncos, as well as the Detroit Lions. And then you've got the other three teams, their quarterbacks got hurt. And they might be down to third string. It might be Josh Johnson for Washington or Sam Hartman. It might be Max Brosmer for Minnesota. And it's probably going to be Chris Aludican for the Chiefs Thursday night. That's just unbelievable, right? Like, think about the money that Netflix and Amazon spent. Do you think they would spend that if they thought they might be getting Brosmer against Aludican? I mean, are you kidding me? And I know those are two different games, but it's wild. I mean, it's one of the things that makes the NFL both awesome and terrible at the same time. It makes it more interesting because injuries happen. But I think, we'd all rather see the star quarterbacks. I do think, though, on Christmas Day, it would make sense if the guy that looks the most like Jesus Christ on earth I've ever seen, Sam Hartman, is the quarterback for Washington. Do it for society. Do it just so my daughters will watch. I mean, I can't even be around that guy. He's so good looking. I'm like, Sam, just walk over there. Don't get near me. It's like people when I was in high school and college, and my mom and sister, they love walking with me because I'm so big. I make every woman look petite. Not that they need to, but you know what I'm saying. I don't want to be near. I don't want to be near Sam Hartman. I don't want to be near someone that makes me look ugly as sin.
I will speak on behalf of every woman in America and say, start Sam Hartman. We would all appreciate that. But like, it's no doubt some of these games that were hyped up to be some of the biggest games of the year are disappointments. Also, a lot of teams in the NFL that have been big disappointments. I want to look on the NFC side of things first. You look at Dallas, going to miss out on the postseason. The Lions at risk of missing out on the postseason. Tampa Bay at risk of losing the division and missing out on the postseason. But of all the teams in the NFC, which do you think has been the most disappointing?
Ooh, that's a tough one because I think you can make a really compelling argument for teams like the Commanders. I mean, the Commanders have 4 wins after they went to the NFC Championship game and won 12 games last year. They're certainly up there. I'm pretty disappointed in the Atlanta Falcons, even though they've actually won their last couple. I guess they could finish 8-9. But I think most people would probably say the Bucks or the Lions. The Lions, it's just so unfortunate. Maybe the best part of their defense is their safeties. And without Kirby Joseph and Brian Branch, we all saw what happened in that game against the Steelers. They are very, very deficient at that position, and it cost them mightily, unfortunately. But I think the Bucks, I mean, that division is just so winnable. It's just staring at them. And I know they had injuries or whatever, but they have blown so many of these games. I mean, 3 weeks in a row now, they lose the other 3 teams in the division. They let the Saints come from behind to beat them. Then they let the Falcons come from behind to beat them. And then they let the Panthers beat them. I mean, you're the Bucks. That's as much as about as big of a drop-off as we've seen this year.
All right, let's stick in the NFC for a second, talk about Philly, because it's interesting. We found on Twitter X, you mentioned that Philly looks like they're getting away from the tush push. What are you seeing in Philadelphia, Ross?
Well, that's a fascinating thing because it was so dominant. And the Eagles still have a really good team, and they might go on a run in the playoffs, primarily because their defense is just so good. But the tush push is not what it used to be. And I think it's a combination of 2 things, Jason. Number one, I do think defenses are doing a better job against it, and they've tried different things coming off the left flank and kind of pulling Hurts back. I think the D linemen doing a better job. The one thing I have noticed is that the left guard for the Eagles, Landon Dickerson, he is really banged up. He's really beat up, and he's not getting the movement that he used to. They really should just get away from the tush push and just do a regular quarterback sneak, without the whole defense being lined up in there like that, because it just doesn't feel like they're getting the same push on the left side that they were.
All right, Ross, you were on the call yesterday for the Saints-Jets game, and kind of feels, don't want to speak too soon, kind of feels like the Saints might have a little something, just a little bit of life in them, way more than I would have thought based off of the quality of football that we saw toward the beginning of the season from the New Orleans Saints. Is Tyler Shuck the future in New Orleans?
He's definitely the immediate future. And by that, I mean 2026. They've now won 3 games in a row. They have 5 wins. He's 4-3 as a starting quarterback. So they're not going to have a top 5 pick, number one. Even if they did, I don't think they would use it on a quarterback, but they're not going to have a chance to take Mendoza or Dante Moore or whoever. It actually, in my mind, kind of works out perfectly for the Saints that they can use that first-round pick at a different position to get better. Tyler Shuck should get every rep this offseason, every opportunity in 2026 to cement himself as the long-term guy. And I think there's a very real chance that he is. I mean, his hip was really messed up yesterday. He still threw for over 300. We know he can run. And so I think there's a better than 50-50 chance that Tyler Shuck's their quarterback for years in New Orleans, but because of the way the draft class is setting up, at a minimum, he'll get 2026, a full year before the Saints have to potentially make a quarterback decision in 2027. But that would only be if Shuck doesn't play well next year.
All right, Ross, let's give you some flowers and flip over to the AFC, because you told everybody a few weeks ago about the Jags. All right, so now we sit here after a massive win in Denver. Point blank, are they the best team in the AFC to you right now?
I think they're the team I would take. Yeah, I mean, I think it would be between Jacksonville and Buffalo. And I heard you guys earlier on the show talking about the fact that that might be the first-round wild card matchup. That would stink because those are the teams I probably believe in the most. I'd say third is probably, I would say, the Patriots, actually. But Jacksonville is just really good. I mean, you know what it is? They don't play many big-time games or primetime games. Even yesterday, they're playing the number 1 seed, best record Broncos, and it's the 4:05 game. It's not the 4:25 game with Tom Brady and Kevin Burkhardt. That was, Tony Romo and Jim Nantz. That was Steelers against the Lions. The Jags are still kind of under the radar, and they got a bunch of guys. You're showing Parker Washington there, Brenton Strange. They have guys that people don't know that much about that are really good players, and man, they have an edge to them. Their coach Liam Cohen, he is just feeding this disrespect theme, and these guys are eating it up. Kudos to them.
Duval.
Shiver down my spine every time. I mean, don't look now, but the Steelers won again. And you very smartly pointed out on Twitter that as soon as the heat on Mike Tomlin's seat started to dial up a little bit, the Steelers have just continued to win. Now, I understand in Pittsburgh that they want to win a playoff game. It's not just about being above 500. It's not just about getting into the playoffs. It's about making some noise in the playoffs. I understand that. But based off of the level of football that we've seen from the Steelers, taking down the Lions yesterday, should Pittsburgh Steelers fans be excited?
I think they should be excited that this is their best chance, and it feels like years, to actually win a playoff game. They're going to get a home playoff game. They're going to win that division. They're playing their best football now down the stretch. That has not been the case in recent years. Recent years, feels like the Steelers get off to a fast start and then kind of limp to the finish line, but still make the playoffs, or quarterbacks hurt or whatever. That's not the case. This is the best Rodgers has played all year. This is the best the Steelers team has played all year. Somehow they're doing it without TJ Watt, their best player. So think about, and they didn't have Herbig yesterday either. So think about, their defense hasn't been great, but when they get Herbig and Watt back, I think, if you're Mike Tomlin and you're looking at the AFC and there's no Patrick Mahomes, there's no probably Baltimore Ravens, I think you're probably looking at this and thinking, why not us? Why can't we go on a run? We just beat Baltimore. We just beat Detroit. We're beating playoff caliber teams. Let's go on a run here.
As a former player, when you see what DK did with the fan yesterday, what's your reaction?
Mixed emotions, because in all sincerity, there are times where I feel like fans cross the line, but that has to be when it's something physical, or when they come out of their sphere and come onto the playing surface, or they get, somehow they are affecting the player. This one's on DK. I don't care what the guy said. You can't walk over there and do what DK said. Now, the guy said he just called him by his real first name, whatever the D and the K stands for. I can't even remember, but that certainly does not merit what DK did. I think we can have a discussion about if it was a family topic or whatever, if he said something about, DK's family, but you still just can't go over there and do that. I think he's probably going to get suspended. I think the NFL has to send a very, very loud and clear message, not only to the players, but to the fans, that that's not going to happen, that players are not going to go over to the fans and put hands on them.
All right, Christmas just a few days away. Obviously, we've talked to you about it before, but what makes myfrontpagestory.com such a cool and unique gift that can make everybody smile?
Well, because it's the gift that lasts forever. Everything else you're getting them is just some material thing that they won't even remember in a month who gave it to them. Myfrontpagestory.com, a custom written story all about your significant other or your mom or your dad, how amazing they are. I'm part owner of the company. I've seen over 100 videos now easily with moms and grandmas and dads and grandpas crying as they read these stories. It's so cool. And believe it or not, it's not too late yet. I think this might actually be better. You guys have to tell me. Go to myfrontpagestory.com. Buy the gift, okay? They're not going to be able to write the story by Thursday. However, you print out the receipt. You put it in an envelope. You give it to them on Christmas morning. They open it. They're like, what is this? Can you imagine saying to them on Christmas morning, I've commissioned an author to write a story about how amazing you are. He's working on it now. First of all, so you get the joy of the gift, giving it to them. Then the anticipation. How many times a day would you check the mail or check UPS or FedEx if you knew somebody was sending a story written all about you and how amazing you are? Then you actually get it. To me, it's like 3 gifts in one if you do it this way. Myfrontpagestory.com. Myfrontpagestory.com. Don't get them some junk that they don't really need or care about anyway. Myfrontpagestory.com.
Check it out. Also, check out the Ross Tucker podcast. Ross, really appreciate you, man. Have a happy holiday to you and your family. We appreciate you coming on, hanging out with us. Travel safe, brother. Got to come back and see us again soon.